Good morning, good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in with me this morning. I caught every red light. That's the only excuse I have. I'm sorry that we are running a few minutes behind schedule, and we will get this party started ASAP. But I wanted to check in and say good morning. Has everyone grabbed their coffee? I literally just over poured my cup, so I can't even that first cup is always that first sip is always a little dangerous. Here, let me turn this so you know where my brain is this morning. I've got my coffee, I've got my water, I've got the internet, I've got you guys. How much better could life be? Am I right? So good, so good. Oh, I love it. Don't forget to like this video, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. That includes you too, Bunny. I like everything else of my own. Why not the video, right? All right, you sexy things. I'm getting it together. I'm getting it. We've got this. We're going to rock this day. It's going to be an amazing day. And here we go. Whoop. I love it when things just work out as they usually do for me. I do think that that's an interesting difference between men and women. Things just work out for women. My life always works out. For you guys, I feel like you have to work at it a little bit more. Good morning. YYYZZ. We need a better nickname. I know this is like a backup to the backup to the backup account, but seriously. Oh, let's check out the interwebs. Let's see what's happening this morning. Well, hello. I always wonder in these pictures how much of that food there actually gets consumed. I always feel like that's just a prop. That's not. I don't feel like, even though that's a healthy meal, I don't feel like it's even going to actually be eaten. Okay, I love it. I'm sure the Jonas Sophie divorce will come up on your timeline. I think we should start taking bets. Place your bets. What's going to come up this morning on the news feed here? Girls' greatest secret is their ability to fucking hide multiple men simultaneously from each other. So I'm currently dating 3 guys, which is awesome. Yeah. I mean, even women who know better will even not talk about even their brothers or their father much on the front end. So this is not just dating stuff. Girls hide men across the board. Let's see. Oh, 1 minute hacks. Take note, gentlemen. This is what we're dealing with. Let's see what we're dealing with. So he has to be obsessed with you, but also uninterested, while also being a little mean, but also worships the ground you walk on, or you'll lose interest. Yes. That's pretty much it. That pretty much nails it down. No problem, gentlemen, right? Just do it all. All of the things. Bro let his intuitive thoughts win. My favorite is how surprised and offended she looks after like dancing in that way and getting things going like that. Oh, that just seems bizarre. Oh, can you see the green line? Sam Taylor Johnson shares new photos with husband Aaron Taylor Johnson. I really need to pay more attention to to pop culture. I know who none of these people are, but I've never been into pop culture, so yeah, I have no idea. But is she his mother? Because she looks like his mother. I'm assuming that's his mom, right? That looks like me and my son. Like, that does not look like a couple. Please tell me, you guys who know who this is, tell me that this is not a couple. Please. There we go. On a scale of from 1 to 10, how hot was Farrah Fawcett in the 70s? She was at 12. Duh. Look at that. Awesome. Awesome. And I mean, even, she went to school around here, and she was even known on campus for just being so stunningly beautiful before she was a big star. Like, she was known. I think this is one of those interesting kind of alterations or kind of shifts in the Hollywood universe, shall we say, that in Farrah Fawcett's day, I mean, yes, guys, they still wore a lot of makeup, like all of these things, but they started with naturally more attractive women because they started with naturally healthier women. They started with, and the ones who went on to become actresses were also like Miss Universe. And, they were gorgeous women. A lot of the actresses that you see today, make no mistake, it's not that there aren't pretty actresses. I mean, there are outliers, but the ones that we would call outliers now, like the exceptionally beautiful Hollywood stars, let's say, used to be very much the norm. Now they're outliers. So now, even when you see the girls who are Hollywood famous, in whether it's TV or movie, they're very plain. They're not, I mean, I'm not saying they're not more attractive than I am, but I'm saying that they are plain by Hollywood standards and by LA standards. And it's just remarkable to me how kind of the average has shifted so low that just like normal looking girls make it in Hollywood to some extent. Let's see. Do not date single mothers unless you're ready to be replaced within seconds once the real father comes back into the picture. And then Sterling Empire added, single moms are low-hanging fruit. Take them all you want, but I'd rather go to the top of the tree where the fruit isn't infested with worms and disease. Okay. Let's just talk about this for a second. And this isn't necessarily because I'm personally offended, but all I'm saying is that this is great advice if you're 25 years old. If, however, you are older than 25, or if you are divorced and getting back out there, all I'm saying is that it's going to be very difficult not to date divorced moms. It's just difficult. That's all. It's just a challenge. If you're adamantly opposed to having kids around, if you absolutely don't want kids, if you don't have kids, if you don't want kids, if if you just do not want to deal with even like being involved in another kid's life, but not really having as much control as you think that you should have, then absolutely do not date single moms. Have a rule against it. Have them for fun, have them for fuck buddies, but don't necessarily, have that boundary where you aren't creating a relationship with her. Fine. But it's going to be very difficult to not ever date single moms if you're 28, 33, post-divorce, if you're getting back out there and you're older than the age of 30, good luck not dating single moms. That's all. That's all. That's not to say that it's for everyone. It's just, it's going to be tricky. Let's see. I see hotter woman in person. Yes. Okay. So back to our Farrah Fawcett conversation and just Hollywood, starlets in general. I see hotter women in person than in movies. And I think that that's a very real truth these days. Yeah. Yeah. This is a very good point. Feels like they're deliberately casting mid women. I feel like that's 1000% correct. I think that if you make them too attractive, this is why the Gilda Gardos or whatever her name is, like the Wonder Woman girl and, the Margot Robbie and those kinds of girls that are thought to be like the elite of Hollywood beauty right now. I feel like that's why they are in exceptional roles. That's why they're Wonder Woman. That's why they're Barbie, the perfect woman, things like that. But you're right. They're being cast, for the most part, 98% of the roles are being cast by purposefully not unattainably attractive women, so that the women who are watching don't feel guilty for how mid they are, how unattractive, overweight. There's a lot of obesity in Hollywood now. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of infiltrated, and it's no longer this aspirational person up on the screen. It's very much like the girl you genuinely see next door, and not in the sexy way. So yeah, I think you're absolutely right. No kids, a big red flag after 30. I agree, because if girls are, so we're getting back to this conversation. If girls are not married, no kids, and they're 30 or over, not only is something wrong because someone hasn't nailed that down. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Sometimes they've kind of wasted a couple of relationships on guys that had no intention of getting married and starting a family and things of that nature. So sometimes it truly is just bad timing. But even that is indicative of the kind of girl that you're meeting, because if she's 30 years old and maybe she's even been engaged, but she has not been able to finish the deal. She has not been able to go all the way to the finish line and get married. Then that says something about her. It says something about the quality of men that she chooses. It says something about the person that she presents herself to be. It maybe speaks to damage that kind of keeps her from being able to commit, or from being agreeable enough, or interesting enough, or lovely enough, or enthusiastic enough for any man to want to commit to her. Yes, red flags. If a girl is not married and no kids after 30, very much a red flag. And listen, there are so many women these days who want so badly for you to actually believe when they say that they have no interest in having kids. That is a tiny, infinitesimal percentage of the female population who genuinely does not, period. So 9 times out of 10, if a woman tells you that, she is only saying that for one of a couple of reasons. Number one, if a woman says she doesn't want to have kids, like, and she's kind of going against this, red flag, if you're not married, no kids after 30, and she's standing by that, like it's her choice. Number one, infinitesimal, it's true. Infinitesimal. Number two, her picker's broke. She's had terrible luck. She hasn't chosen the right guys. She hasn't chosen men who want to marry her. She hasn't been agreeable enough to want to marry. She's challenging at every step of the way. She's a bitch. She's a cunt. She does not make life or relationship fun or easy. She does not add to his life. She only takes. And so she is not pleasant to be around long term. And she does not have, because of that, no man wants to put a baby in her. If he doesn't want to put a baby in her, he often does not see any point in marrying her. And number three, she's trying to lock you in because you've just said, I don't really, need to get married. I don't know about marriage, and you're like, and she's like, oh yeah, me either. I don't want kids either. I don't, marriage is just a patriarchy, blah, 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 blah. Girls will say that all the time and then change their minds once the right guy, once you are available and want to marry them. So make no mistake, just because a girl says she doesn't want to have kids and she doesn't want to get married, that is almost always a complete farce. Complete farce. All right, let's see. What's Tim Hicks saying this morning? I haven't looked at his stuff much lately. It hasn't been coming across my feed as much. If you have a problem with me, text me. If you don't have my number, that means you don't know me well enough to have a problem with me. Oh, that was kind of lame. Not lame, but like, he puts out some pretty good stuff sometimes. Wake up and pray up and go to the gym. I like it. Guys, video games don't cause school shootings. Also, guys, Bud Light wants to trans your kids. Yeah, good point. Let's see. I do like that Ryan kind of calls it like it is. Resetting your passwords mean you lose everything in your drafts. Oh, I had 4 to 5 great threads and 100+ tweets in there. Not gonna lie, this stings pretty bad. Yeah, that sucks. I know that this circulates every few weeks, but it's always funny because it's always true. Just like we talked about, Fort Worth and I talked about on the Morning Hustle yesterday morning, astrology, it takes the onus off the girls. Girls do not like to have responsibility. And so astrology makes everything up to fate. It makes everything not our responsibility, and it makes everything out of our control. So it's not that I didn't submit the resume. It's that job wasn't meant for me. This is how girls think. It's insane. Let's see. Funny, when to touch a woman during a date. Touch a woman during a date in non-aggressive ways whenever she's showing you the signals of attraction, when she's pointing more towards you, when her eyes get wide, when her pupils get dilated, when she's smiling with her eyes and not just her mouth. There's a vast difference. I'm going to try and demonstrate a little bit, but I'm going to look psychotic in doing it. Okay. There's a vast difference in a girl who is appeasing you, so she's smiling just with her mouth, Like, it's just like nothing is going on here. Nothing is indicating. If you just saw her eyes, you would not know that she was smiling. And a full smile that brightens everything, that makes the eyes crinkle if her eyes are anything like mine, that makes her eyes shine. So if a girl is truly engaged with you and smiling at you and taking in what you're saying and reciprocating with full smiles, you can touch her on the hand, you can touch her on the arm. These are safe places to lightly brush, to kind of test those indicators of interest that she's giving. She will likely touch you when she wants you to touch her. She will reach out to your hand. She'll reach out to your knee. She'll touch you on the arm. She'll bat you on the shoulder. These are great. She'll find an excuse to touch your hair. Women will do this. Now, make no mistake, there's an imbalance in those indicators of interest. Like, if you touch a girl's hair before you've kind of reached that point of comfort with that, then she's going to think you're weird. But girls will touch a man's hair all the time. It'll be like, oh, I like your curls. Oh, you got a haircut. That looks nice. She will touch you when she feels comfortable. That's one of her indicators of her interest in you. And when she's giving you those indicators of interest, then you know that it's safe to start testing the waters. And it's not like, I had a man, Fort Worth was standing right there. It was the weirdest thing. I had a man who we kind of work alongside in our gym, and he came up and he like rested his hand on my shoulder. Like he reached around and like rested his hand on my shoulder one day and just like hung there like we were close. And I was like, what is happening? And then he just walked off without saying a word. But it was like a good 5-minute pause. It was bizarre. That's how not to do it. Light touches, quick, not lingering. Okay. Yes. Tony. Yes. When she bites her bottom lip, that's a great indicator of interest. And this is one that also goes along nicely with a couple of drinks. So she gets a little bit more comfortable giving you indicators of interest if she has a little bit of plausible deniability. Now, keep in mind, you're in charge of how much you're drinking as well as how much she's drinking out on a first date. You don't want her vomiting all over the place. You don't want her being sick. And you also don't want like a rape charge because she claims that she wasn't in control of herself and something's going on. So things can go very south very quickly if you're not monitoring what the girl who's in front of you is taking in. But that biting the bottom lip is a great indicator of her interest. She's biting the bottom lip. Her eyes are getting wide. You know, she's looking at you with a more sultry gaze. These are all answers to your question when it's safe to touch a girl on a date. Great questions, great input, great chat. I love it when you guys are hot in the chat box. It makes me so happy to have this kind of communication. All right, let's see. You guys know I'm not reading these first. I'm just clicking on them. In a long-term relationship, most women are liabilities but see themselves as assets. Yes. Most men are assets but see themselves as liabilities. So in long-term relationship, most women are liabilities because they think that that if they earn some money, if they have a job, or if they have a little mom business, a little side business, that is contributing. But oftentimes when women work, more often than not, when women work in a long-term or marriage relationship, they also spend incongruence to the amount of money that they earn, because his money is our money and my money is my money. So very few women truly contribute to the household income. Truly, like in a significant way. And that can be because of wage gap. That can be because she takes off every other day for a hair appointment, a doctor's appointment, a dentist appointment, because the kid is sick. Like, it could be all kinds of reasons. And women are liabilities because we are emotionally driven individuals. So an emotionally driven individual is always going to be a liability. So this is about balancing the liability and the benefits. And that is where her upbringing and her kind of her attitudes about relationship coming to you go a long way. And then add to that your frame, your control in the situation, your leadership of the relationship. These are all balancing factors. So women do see themselves very much as assets. It's kind of like a woman who is in a sexual situation and she genuinely just kind of lays there. She's not an active participant in sex because just showing up is kind of what she thinks of as being her part, where if she's actively involved in the sex play, it's even hotter. She enjoys it more too. It's a win on both sides. But this is where women are liabilities because they're oftentimes incredibly emotionally driven creatures, and any emotionally driven person, whether it's a woman, whether it's a lover, whether it's a child, whether it's a parent that you have to care for, whether it's a sibling that you feel responsible for, whether it's needy friends, which women are notorious for having very needy friends because women are responsibilities or liabilities. But we definitely do see ourselves as assets more times than not. Even some of the most mid women, the most unattractive, overweight, you name it. I mean, look at Lizzo. She's one of these wildly unattractive, morbidly obese, incredibly unhealthy women, and yet she sees herself very much as an asset to any relationship she's in. Now, she's a money-making machine, make no mistake, but this is the attitude that most women bring to relationships. So that's where most women are liabilities, but see themselves as assets. Most men are assets, but see themselves as liabilities. I feel like they see themselves as liabilities primarily because of kind of the bitchy women and what they are saying. But I feel like men in our neck of the woods, if you're tuning in, if you watch this, you likely understand that you are the leader, the asset. You bring value to every relationship you're in, whether it's a professional relationship, a friendship, or a love relationship. Let's see. Bunny, do you have a book on this topic? I do. I'm sure of it. So I will say so we were talking about when to touch women, how, those indicators of interest and things of that nature. I'm going to suggest for that you go to, so I'm on my website here. There we go. On my website, I'm clicking under products. Fuck like a porn star, maker squirt, threesome, what women really want, the massage book. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. I hovered too long, apparently. Women and cheating. Instant self-confidence would be a good one. But really, Instant Self-Confidence would be a good one of my books to check out in that realm. So that's this one right here, Instant Self-Confidence with Women Handbook. However, I am going to say, if you will go to, I'm going to go over to Fort Worth's, because I do think that this is probably, what you need is his Build Your Dating System, or hold on, I'll know it when I see it. Basic Training would be ideal for this because it does help with that. Yeah. Listen, the best thing that you can get this morning is, as far as her indicators of interest and how to kind of read those, will be Fort Worth Playboys Build Your Dating System. It is such a good book. It helps you set a plan, but it also helps you kind of learn and internalize when to take what steps along the dating path. So that would be the best book for you as far as learning those indicators of interest and how to act on them. Okay. $29, fortworthplayboy.gumroad.com/ let me just copy and paste this into the chat box, because I don't want to tell you the wrong URL. That would defeat the purpose completely, wouldn't it? Thank you guys so much. Yeah, you have a great point. Men who really are men do not care about women's money. They don't care what they bring to the table financially, because you know better than to count on it. Women operate under want to, not have to. Men operate under have to. So women, if they don't feel like going to work, they don't. If they don't feel like working on a project right now, they don't. If they don't feel like cleaning house, they don't. Oh, I was just so worn out. So, I had a whole to-do list, but I, ended up watching Netflix for 18 hours straight. Like, this is how women genuinely operate, whether they admit to it or not. So women operate under want to, not have to. Men don't really have a choice in the matter, So that's why it's always a safer idea to make sure that you are not, even if you are in a long-term relationship or marriage, that you're not relying on a woman's income. Maybe you can use that as the family travel fund. Whatever she earns can go to a travel fund or a savings or something of that nature, if she's earning enough to contribute to the financial well-being of the family. But you're not counting on it. All it takes is an illness, a kid illness, a parent illness, a you illness, a baby being born, a lot of like PTO or PTA, responsibilities at the kids' school, volunteering, church, friend drama. Like, it takes nothing at all, blips on the radar, for women to stop work, to not show up to work, to justify not working. So women operate under want to. So counting on her income for your family's well-being is a terrible idea. Whew, thank you guys so much. I apologize again that we had to start a few minutes late. Literally, I hit every red light taking a kiddo to school, and there was just no way around it. I was like watching that clock tick and going, well, it's going to be that morning. But I thank you guys for rolling with me. Thank you for being active in the chat. Thank you for asking great questions. Thank you for contributing so much to my every single morning. I appreciate you. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you on the interwebs. Oh, almost forgot. Guys, go lift heavy things. Go have amazing sex and go accomplish something. I want you to win in life and in sex. Bye.